Morning, everybody. Today, a lot of times I usually, do videos based on questions that people have asked recently. And so I was going to speak about my limited knowledge of the Testament of Solomon and the wisdom of Solomon. And it's crazy to me that the only person it says that was wiser than Solomon in history is Jesus. So I think we should definitely take a lot of information from Solomon because he made a lot of mistakes, and a lot of times you learn from your mistakes. So I think it's good that we listen to what happened to him, what he did wrong, what he did right. I mean, we have some books in the canon that are from him, but there's also many books that are not in the canon that are from him, and two of those are the Wisdom of Solomon, which I believe is from the 14 apocryphal books of the original 1611 King James Bible. Like, there are other Bibles now. Like, I have like 4 or 5 Bibles at home that are different Bibles, like that have the Apocrypha in it still. So like sometimes they would restore the Apocrypha back to the Bible and call it this certain Bible, or they'd take it out and they'd do all sorts of stuff to make money off that version, because a lot of people like to have those different versions so they make more money. The printing companies make more money by having them in or out, which is ridiculous that you would even contemplate making money off of Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. I'm not a good dude, but it just seems like stupid to, Jesus flipped over tables because they were selling in the marketplace, which is supposed to be the house of God. Like, there shouldn't have been a marketplace in the house of God, and yet they were selling doves and pigeons, and this has a metaphoric language to it as well, but they were still doing that, and it's an evil thing. And in my opinion, it represents like all the different church leaders and church people nowadays who are selling their books and selling their opinions and selling, you have your best life now and all this stuff. And they removed the actual words of God. And Jesus said to Satan, when he was being tempted by Satan, man doesn't live on bread alone. He lives on every word that comes from the mouth of God. And the canon is the bread. And the bread rose on the third day, according to Matthew 13:33. So the bread has risen. Jesus has risen. The word of God has risen on the third day. A day is as 1,000 years with the Lord, as Peter said. And so now we have it. It's risen and we have it. And so there's no reason to be saying that these books are not valid or condemning these books when these books are meant to be for our time. Enoch said his book isn't for his generation, but a remote one that is to come, who will be living in the days when the wicked and the ungodly will be removed from the earth. So if the wicked and ungodly are removed from the earth, who's here? And somebody had left a comment saying that I don't understand the rapture, and it has to do with like the wheat harvest and the grape harvest and all these harvests. And I totally get that. And maybe you're right and I'm wrong. Maybe that's true. Maybe there's a harvest, because Jesus does say, pray that you can be found worthy to escape all these things. So maybe there's an escape. I've dreamed of an escape. I just don't think that the rapture is the way that they teach it in the churches. And maybe Jesus does take certain groups of Christians out of here at certain times based on if they're good or if they're ripe or if they're good souls or not. And I agree that could be the case. I'm just saying that the way that it's taught in churches, and I have grown up in churches, hundreds of churches I've been taken to by my parents. I went to Christian school my whole life. I've never been to public school. I went to Salem Christian School from 5K to 8th grade, except for 7th grade I was homeschooled. And then I went to 3 different Christian high schools. And I was a class clown, and I hated school, and I did not pay attention, and I had my girlfriend do my homework, and I did not like Bible class, and I did not write the memory verses on my hand to cheat. I just got F's because I couldn't memorize verses. And yet now I am just spitting the Bible at you So if you can understand that this has to be Jesus Christ that is allowing this to happen, it has to be. That's what I'm telling you. Like, the Holy Spirit is allowing me to remember these things, to speak them back to you. And I'm telling you that these books were meant to be here for us, dug up in 1949 in Qumran, in the Dead Sea Scrolls, brought back to us through the internet. Let the wicked be wicked still and the good be good still. These are the times I'm telling you that we're living in. And I don't think that the rapture has been preached to us correctly. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that you might not be right. I've dreamed that Jesus saves us on Noah's Ark somehow, and we're all in little groups, and there's angels taking care of us. I've dreamed it, so it's not like I don't believe it. I just don't think that it's the way that the church teaches it, the way that, I think his name's John Hagee, that big fat preacher. I don't think that that's the dude that you should be listening to, the dude with the Rolexes and the Pateks and all these $100,000 watches. I don't think you should be listening to people like that, because they're the people that are spoken of in Jude, where certain men crept in unawares. These are the people that are evil, that are running the Christian churches in the West, which is where we are, and they're not right. And the people that tell you that we shouldn't be reading the book of Enoch and reading all this stuff, they're following an old Jewish custom that removed Enoch, because they don't think that angels can have sex with human women, but they can, and they did it to their own judgment, and they were judged by Enoch. And if this is the basic thing that you could go by, Jesus in heaven, and when Adam fell, promised Adam to save him in 5.5 days. Adam thought it was 5.5 literal days. It turned into to be 5.5 thousand years. Jesus came to the day. The Pharisees found out that he came to the day to save us from our sins. And so Jesus dies, goes down to the underworld, saves Adam and all the patriarchs and all the people that have ever lived, from Adam to the thief on the cross that loved Jesus. He saved them all, and he took them from the underworld, Abraham's bosom, to the surface, and they were on the earth walking around, and people saw them. And they don't tell you this because the Pharisees paid off everybody, so nobody knew about it. And that is the first resurrection of the dead. So if you think that there's a rapture, and there's going to be people that are taken up, and that's the 10,000 upon 10,000 of the saints, I would say that you're wrong, because you have not been taught, based on the removal of certain books, that Enoch and Elijah are the two witnesses that come to that come to tell everybody about Jesus coming to save us after they fight the Antichrist in Israel. See what I'm saying? So there's a difference between what you're taught right now and what actually happened. They removed the stuff that is the meat of the word. You are living on bread, but man doesn't live on bread alone. Man lives on every word that comes from the mouth of God. And what I am telling you is every word that comes from the mouth of God. Enoch and Elijah are going to, just like John the Baptist, they're going to tell everybody about Jesus is coming after this charlatan, the Antichrist, has his short season on the earth to make everybody believe that he has some type of power that he doesn't have. And if you're wondering what that cat dying noise is, it's just my steering wheel. So as I stated before, there are two books. One is called The Wisdom of Solomon, which is where we get, according to Robert Farrell's work, where we get the armor of God analogy that Paul used, because Paul was a student of the Jewish scriptures, and he had this book back then, and he uses it. And so it's called the chapter of faith that it comes from, and yet we don't have the actual faith to follow through with acknowledging the Wisdom of Solomon, which is the chapter of faith. And I believe I'm saying this right. It might be from another book, but I'm pretty sure it's from the Wisdom of Solomon. And you find out that we get that from Paul's writings. And it might be like Hebrews, but I'm pretty sure it's the Wisdom of Solomon that I'm talking about. But there might be a matching text in Hebrews. I just forget. So the Wisdom of Solomon is a Proverbs type of book that is in the Apocrypha, which means hidden. Jesus said, to him who overcomes, I will give to eat of the hidden manna, because people don't read this and they don't eat the hidden manna. So you can't let it penetrate your soul unless you read the books and understand that they come from God. So then there's also the Testament of Solomon, So there's the Wisdom of Solomon, which is in the Apocrypha. Then there's the Testament of Solomon, which would be counted probably as pseudepigrapha, which means that it's a false writing, which it's not a false writing. And so Solomon has this little kid that he helps every day, that he takes care of, basically. That's kind of like an orphan or something like that. And so he gives him money, he gives him food and stuff. And the kid's getting thinner and thinner and looking sicker. And he's like, why are you so sick looking? I give you money every day and feed you and all this stuff. And at this time, Solomon's building the temple for God. And so he'd already been given wisdom. So he prays to God and asks him for a way to get rid of the demons, which are the spirits of the giants that were dead from the flood, that are tormenting people on the earth. So they're tormenting this child. Solomon asked for a way to be protected because Jesus hasn't come yet. So that's how much power these demons had until Jesus came. And so God gives him the pentaphel ring, which is a pentagram without the circle, basically. And then witches have taken it now and put a circle around it. So they're binding demons on their own using witchcraft, or calling them up using witchcraft. But, which I explained before, witchcraft came upon the earth by Satan telling a man to sacrifice his firstborn child. That's how magic came on the earth. Then once it came, 9 parts of it went to Egypt and the rest went to the rest of the world. So that's why Katy Perry has an Egypt video, and why they have so much stuff in this country that matches Egypt, the obelisks in all the major cities, DC, everywhere. That's why. It's because it's magic. So this Testament of Solomon, he's given a ring. It's a pentaphel ring. He wears it, and if you throw it at the chest of the demon, it binds the demon, and he can't do anything until you release it. And these demons are all called forth from the ocean. Ghislaine Maxwell was a proponent of the ocean. Do you see the pattern? They are protecting the ocean because that's where the demons live. Her father, Ghislaine Maxwell's father, owned Pergamum Press, which had all the school books in the nation that had bad information, that was false information. And that's what we have learned as public school people I'm not saying me, but I'm saying the people that went to public school. You're learning from books that were written by Ghislaine Maxwell's father. He's the one who had the Pergamum Press company that made these books and told all this false information. So if you went to public school, that's where you got your info from, with all the different things about Darwinism and everything. Everything's false that's in it. So you got to relearn everything. So anyways, so Testament of Solomon, all the demons are brought forth. They all tell you that they cause plagues and problems on this earth, and blindness on babies in the womb, men's teeth to fall out, hundreds and hundreds of things that the demons do to people to make them have a bad life. And people blame that on God. It's not God's fault. They're demons doing it. That's why you need to come to Christ and have protection from that. And daily, even now, my coworkers and stuff talk about how they are plagued by demons. They play demonic games and they're plagued by demons. They get sick all the time. And this is why. It's from demons. So the reason you should read these books is to understand how they do these things. Use that information against them so that you don't have to be plagued by that. And you can just pray to Jesus if that's what you want to do. Just pray to Jesus and don't read the book. But if you want to know why these things are happening, so you can tell other people that, a lot of kids these days, like my friends, that they're into demon stuff. So if you tell them why it's not good and why they are getting sick all the time and why these things are happening, you're using wisdom that is given to you by God, just like Solomon did. And you're taking that wisdom and you're using it against the devil so that these people can be protected from things they don't understand, instead of just thinking it's ghosts or aliens or whatever they think. You see what I'm saying? So use the wisdom God has given you. Use the wisdom of Solomon and the Proverbs in it to live a righteous lifestyle. Use the Testament of Solomon to understand what has happened in the past and what the giants were doing with the spirits tormenting people and things like that. Understand that the demons live in the ocean and there's demonic kingdom there, and that's where the aliens are going to come from, is the ocean, when they try to say that they came from space. They can't get out of the dome, and neither can we. We're stuck here. We're at the bottom of the 7 layers of heaven, and God's throne is right above us, and this is his footstool. And if you don't believe that, you just believe something that's not true, and I can't change that for you. I can't do anything to help you if you don't understand that. And I'm not saying believe it or else. I'm just saying, if you don't believe it, then you don't know the truth, and the truth is what sets you free. So become free. The freedom is in your mind. Once you understand it, then you can walk around this earth and nothing can really hurt you anymore. Nothing can bother you. None of the stresses of life matter, because you know that after this life and after you die here, you're with him, and that's it. So you don't have anything to be afraid of. So God bless. I hope that helps. Take care and have a great day, guys.